going back to kind of the change, obviously it's become more litigious. You have the weaponization of essentially 3044, which I always tell people is probably one of the worst 5 statutory laws in the United States, just because of how it's used now and how much conflict it creates. What have you seen in terms of, you're in LA County, so I guess I'll take a step back. So in California, anytime you are going to go in front of a judge for an order, you have to go to mediation. Right. I'm based in, I primarily am in Riverside and San Bernardino, where it's recommending counseling. So you go to mediation and then that mediator makes a recommendation. You're in LA County and they don't make that recommendation. You go to mediation. If nothing happens, then you go in front of the judge. In terms of over the last decade or so, have you seen a change in terms of what judges do, both on those initial hearings in terms of custody for dads and what dads end up with now?
I have, and I think it's driven more by more men are stepping up and saying, I want to be a dad. I want to be an active, engaged father. I'm a great dad. I need to be in my kid's life, and I am willing to work my life around having more flexibility and more time. One of the things I tell guys, I call it the 3 Ps. And, if you want to have more time with your kid, it's proximity. You've got to be close to their school. You've got to be close to mom. It's paperwork. You've got to have a paper trail of what is your actual availability? What is your actual engagement with the kids? Show the judge what you're actually doing. And then it's persistence. You're going to go back to court, I would say at least 2 to 4 times to get what you want. It's very rare that you're going to walk into court and go, hi, Your Honor, I'm a great dad. Let me have 50% custody. Like that's hard, because most of the times men have left the house. So now the kid is with mom. It's presumed that they're going to be with mom. And now we're fighting an uphill battle. We're trying to claw back time from mom. And if she doesn't want to give it up, she's going to have a lot of reasons why you're not going to get the time. And so we have to fight that. We have to fight that, because we also have to fight that you're not losing work hours to lower your income, to lower your child support. You're reconfiguring your work schedule so you're there for the kids after school so that you can have overnights during the week. So there's all these uphill battles that we have to fight that guys aren't really aware of until they come into my office and they've already shot themselves in the foot. And now we're trying to undo that.
I think a big piece of it's cultural too. When you have when I have those initial conversations, like I said, it's not uncommon for them to have moved out. It's not uncommon for them to have made kind of one of the major mistakes that's kind of going to have to be cleaned up. But the number one thing I have to have conversations with guys around that is that there's so much pressure from their co-parent, from their co-parent's mom, aunt, cousins, friends on mom knows best. You can't take the kids away from mom. And a lot of clients come in with real concerns that hey, am I doing something wrong by saying that I want more custody, that I want more time, that I want them to live with me at least part of the time? And it's something that kind of mentally or just societally, culturally needs to be unwound.
Absolutely. And we're getting there. More men are stepping up, as we're kind of moving away from boomers and Gen X, and we're into Gen Z, millennials. That's our new clientele, realistically, who are dads. They have a very different attitude. They are much more I want to be a father. I want to be a stay-at-home dad. I don't see any reason why I can't have my kids. But yeah, we're definitely having to overcome that presumption that, moms are just better. They're more nurturing, because men are just, they make the bacon and moms take care of the kids. It's that was a story that was told in the 50s. It's not a very good reality. And in today's world, we really need men to step up, and particularly if men have boys. Behind me, you can see there's a book called The Boy Crisis by Dr. Warren Farrell, which is a really, really big read. I mean, the book is full of lots of academic reading, and it's a hard book to get through, but it's crucial for my clients who have boys, because going into today's society in the school system, they're fed this whole thing about the future is female. boys are bad, boys are ADHD, boys are too aggressive, toxic masculinity. It's like, okay, wait, stop. Let's take a look at what's really going on here. And if you don't give a boy a strong male role model, you're going to end up with a lot of problems. So courts are starting to see that as men are coming to the courts and saying, I need to be more part of my kid's life. So that's one of the big changes is, yes, men are asking for it, and courts are recognizing the need for it.
Yeah, I think your generational thing is a really nice point as well, too, because thinking about it, if I have a 20-something-year-old or even 30-something-year-old come in, they may look at me and say, I know this is going to be difficult. I know dads get screwed, but I want 50-50 custody. Whereas the older clients, like maybe if they're 40, 50, 60, I think I have all the way up into the 80s. They almost never, I mean, there'll be some of them that'll come in and they'll say, yeah, I know how this works. I'm going to get every other weekend. That's cool.
Right.
But if I get a 21-year-old comes in, there is no way they're not saying, I want 50-50 custody. I want to be equal.
Yeah. Which I think is great. I think is a really good thing. I think we're in the chum of that mix as we're like trying to make the transition. Because we still have judges who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s, and one or two maybe in their 80s, and they've got their own biases. You know, I mean, judges, as much as they try to be objective and bias-free, you can't get away from it. You're going to have your biases. They grew up with their views of what men and women are. And so we have to overcome that too.